So Claude Opus 4.8 just launched, and before we go into the whole marketing language, let's first go into the benchmark table because this is where things actually get interesting. So how does Opus 4.8 actually compare to ChatGPT and Gemini? Now, based on this benchmark table you see here, Claude Opus 4.8 seems to be like the strongest when the task involves agentic work. So you can see here agentic coding, this is high. You can see agentic computer work, this is also high. You can see when it comes to agentic financial analysis, you can see that it's also high. Okay, that means that work where a model needs to plan or use tools or reason across steps and complete tasks, it's actually doing a good job there. Because again, back to my point, like if you're using a tool like N8 and you get to decide what happens in every step, but when you are building an AI agent or you're using an agent, like you don't necessarily decide what happens in every step, right? So you want to make sure that the agent can think critically and all that. I mean, if you look at the table here, you can see that ChatGPT looks really strong, especially when it comes to terminal coding. And honestly, I think that makes sense. Because if you've used GPT 5.5 for coding, you can know that like GPT 5.5 is not like a weak model. But then Opus 4.8 seems to be positioning itself really well as a more consistent model across different kinds of complex work. Okay, now let's look at Gemini 3.1 Pro. Gemini 3.1 Pro here is also very competitive, right? But on this table, it's not leading most of the categories. So the question is not about which model is really the best. The better question you should be asking yourself is like, what kind of work are you actually doing? Right? If you need just fast general assistance, okay, then you can just go ahead and open ChatGPT and just use ChatGPT because it's actually really strong. If you need something that has to do with like the Google ecosystem, for instance, ecosystem integration, multimodal workflows, then Gemini can actually make a lot of sense. But if you need, let's say, careful reasoning, agentic coding, computer use, things like that, let's say reliability across messy workflows, then definitely you should be looking at Claude Opus 4.8 because it looks like it's strong in those areas as well. Now, I want to touch on pricing because like when I scroll down here, for instance, when I scroll down here, I can see pricing and it looks like the pricing didn't necessarily change. Okay. I want to talk of pricing because this is where a lot of people also look at, and this is where I want people to be accurate about. Okay. Regular Opus 4.8 pricing is the same as Opus 4.7. Nothing really changed there. So the core model did not suddenly become cheaper. It didn't suddenly become expensive. The regular pricing is still $5 per input million tokens and $25 per million output tokens. But fast mode is where the pricing actually changes, or this is where the improvement comes in, because Opus 4.8 fast mode is now 3 times cheaper than previous fast mode, and it runs at 2.5 times the speed. Simply put, the regular Opus pricing stayed the same, but the fast mode actually got cheaper and faster. And that matters again if you're building agents, you're building apps, or you're building workflows where costs add up quickly. I mean, I'm sure you've seen in the news, companies are cutting back on Claude. Like Microsoft recently mentioned that their developers should switch from Claude. They shouldn't be using it because they're spending so much money on tokens, right? So I think that this is probably a really good move. But then yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, like if you're building AI agents, you're building apps, you're building workflows, and the cost can add up quickly, because the best model is not always the smartest model. It's the smartest model you can actually afford to use repeatedly is what actually matters here. So now I want to talk about who should use Opus 4.8 or what should you be using it for. So I would say that for me, I'll be using Opus 4.8. Again, I'm coming back to this benchmark table. I'll be using Opus 4.8 if I have to do anything that is complex with regards to coding. So complex coding, if I have to build AI agent, workflow design, I have to do things like technical planning, long document analysis, financial analysis, legal or policy research support, business process mapping, anything where I believe accuracy and judgment matter the most. I would definitely be using Opus 4.8 there. I'm not going to be using Opus 4.8 for everything. Like if I have to ask a simple question, I'm not going to be using Opus 4.8 there. Like if I'm writing a quick email, I'm drafting a short caption, I'm summarizing something simple or brainstorming basic ideas, trust me, I'm just going to open ChatGPT, or I'm going to use Haiku or some other smaller model to do that. I don't need an expensive model for that. But if the task has like serious consequences, if a mistake costs time, money, trust, or security, then a more careful model is actually worth paying for. So let me give you my final take, okay? My final honest take is this. Like, Claude Opus 4.8 is not just exciting because now we can generate another paragraph. Like, we've seen this since 2022 when ChatGPT came out. It's becoming very exciting for me, one, because it shows us where AI is going. Like, the future is definitely agentic if we are not already living the future now. So we are no longer going to be using AI. It'll get to a point where we are not just using AI to answer questions. We're not going to be using AI for Google. We are getting to a point where you can just describe a goal and then the AI takes over and handles it. And in order for us to get to that point, we have to make sure that the AI is reliable enough. You can actually trust the AI to do stuff for you. And I think that Anthropic has taken a good step in the right direction, meaning that now you can give a task and you can be rest assured that the agent would know what they're doing. They're not going to skip steps. They're not going to hallucinate too much, because Anthropic has actually like tried to input things like self-judgment, self-direction, self-correction, and all that. Opus 4.8 looks like a stronger step towards reliable AI agents, orchestration, and building, and all that. And that matters a lot because real AI work is not one clean prompt, okay? It's messy, and you might need the model to sort of understand context. You might need a model to use tools, navigate a browser, write code, analyze the document, catch its own mistake, and keep working without having to fall apart. And that's what agentic AI really is about. It's not just about the way we go into ChatGPT and ask questions and then it answers. Agentic coding is more so about completing work by giving it a goal. And this is why Opus 4.8 is actually interesting to me. Not because it wins in every single benchmark, because it doesn't, but because it looks like Anthropic is actually optimizing for something most people care about right now than hype, which is reliability. So I think that I'll be a lot more confident moving forward, delegating work to an AI agent to do. I'm not gonna give I know a lot of people on social media will be like, oh, I gave my credit card to my AI agent to book my flights. Like, I'm not gonna do that, guys. Like, I'm not gonna do that, okay? Anyway, so what I want you to know is that if you're mostly using AI as a chatbot, okay, so to wrap this up, I just want to say if you're using AI as just another chatbot, then you're actually leaving a lot of opportunities on the table, because with this release, we can see that Anthropic really cares about agentic coding or agentic work in general. This also goes to show that this is where AI is going. This is the next phase of AI, and we're already living it now. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I also did notice that a lot of people are not subscribed to my channel. So if you do find my videos helpful, I would appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and you also like this video and share it. It goes a long way to support my channel. But that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.